So German Chancellor Olaf Scholz has conceded defeat after the opposition leader, Friedrich Merz, declared victory in the national election. But the outgoing Chancellor has also criticised a historic result for the far right. The Alternative for Germany is on track for the strongest showing for a far-right party on a national level since the Second World War. Well, Merz's Conservative, CDU, is expected to win about 28.5% of the vote. The far-right AfD are likely to get around 19.5%. Chancellor Olaf Scholz's centre-left Social Democrats is expected to take third place. That is its worst post-war results. Let's go to Dominic Kane, who's live for us outside the Bundestag in Berlin. But first to Vaessen, who's also in Berlin at the CDU headquarters of Friedrich Merz. And so, early results. Tell us more about those and also the mood in the celebratory Merz camp.
Well, Friedrich Merz didn't wait very long to declare victory at the stage here behind me just a few minutes ago. And he immediately also took up his role as the new Chancellor, the successor, very likely, of Olaf Scholz, who conceded the defeat. And Merz immediately also had a message to Europe, to Germany, but also to the world. He said that it's now time that Germany will have a solid government again. We have to show that we are present in Europe, and also the world will not wait for us. We need to hurry up, build a coalition quickly and make sure that Germany is back on track. All these very tough words from the man that actually has no experience in government. He is a lawyer, he's been in politics for many years, but also has been in business, and now he's been basically elected as the new Chancellor. He was a competitor for Angela Merkel for many years, and basically has been sidelined by the former Chancellor. That's when he went out of politics. Merz is known to be much more conservative than the former Chancellor Angela Merkel was. He has also a very tough stance against immigration, and he has basically been working together recently with the far-right Alternative for Germany party to make sure that very strict anti-migration policies were adopted in Parliament, but they failed. But he was heavily criticized for working together with the far right. And now it's going to be interesting to see, because the far right leader from the Alternative for Germany party immediately responded also for their big win. They have doubled the vote, and Alice Weidel spoke to the public, but also spoke directly to Friedrich Merz, saying we want to work together. And there is, of course, this firewall, we call it here in Germany. All the parties have said they don't want to govern with the AfD, but the AfD made a very clear gesture saying the country won't change, the policies won't change without the AfD. So this is now the political landscape after this election here in Germany.
Yeah, indeed, a changing political landscape indeed. Thanks very much indeed, Vaessen there in Berlin at CDU headquarters. Let's go to Dominic Kane, who joins us now from just outside the Bundestag. So Dominic, a win for Merz. And as we've just been hearing, whatever happens, there's going to be a coalition.
There is, but what type of coalition? That's the central question, because the answer to that will unlock all sorts of different themes that a new government will seek to impose in terms of internal policies, in terms of foreign policy. And it's not entirely clear right now, as I say, which constellation of parties will be involved in that coalition. It is clearly going to take some considerable time. Yes, Mr. Merz very clearly saying that there needs to be quick negotiations, but with which specific parties? Because obviously the Social Democrats have been repudiated, their vote dropping to the sort of level which is one of the worst performances they've ever had since the creation of the Federal Republic. So, would Mr. Merz govern with them? Potentially, but clearly there are elements in that party who really don't like the sorts of migration measures that Merz has said he wants to do. We know that some of Merz's allies in Bavaria have said they do not want to govern with the Greens. So actually, forming a coalition is going to be particularly difficult for Mr. Merz, and he is going to have to make compromises, concessions, if you want to put it that way, insofar as some key policies are concerned.
A lot of interest right around the world, not least the United States, but of course, especially in Europe. What does all this mean across the European continent?
Well, interestingly enough, insofar as foreign policy is concerned, there was a broad consensus. Specifically, viewers might recall the Munich Security Conference, at which the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, made the sort of speech which effectively prompted from Olaf Scholz and from Annalena Baerbock, that's the Green current foreign minister, and from Mr. Merz, the sort of comments which was, if not necessarily overtly condemnatory, clearly saying that Germany's parties don't see things that way. And so insofar as the war in Ukraine is concerned, insofar as the role of NATO is concerned, insofar as Europe is concerned, insofar as trade relations with the United States is concerned, there is a broad consensus among the mainstream parties. In other words, the parties who might form a coalition with Friedrich Merz after those difficult negotiations I mentioned, broad consensus about foreign policy. There isn't going to be a particular change. One of the things that Merz had said during the campaign was he felt that Olaf Scholz had been too weak in Europe. He said that Germany needed to take a lead in Europe again, that he was the man to do it. Well, the voters appear to have given him the mandate to do that. But as I say, foreign policy is not really the area, the bone of contention here in Germany amongst the mainstream parties. The question, looking at it from the European perspective, is if there is a more strident Chancellor here in Berlin going to those meetings in Brussels and Strasbourg, if there is, what is his position going to be? Is he going to try to give the kind of leadership to Europe that a conservative predecessor, Angela Merkel, used to give? And if he is, how is he going to show that? But of course, first, he has to replace Scholz as Chancellor. He can't do that until he's got a majority in Parliament. So Olaf Scholz has effectively been voted out of office, but will stay in office until Merz has got that coalition.
All right, thanks for that, Dominic. Dominic Kane there outside the Bundestag.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.